Hey everybody, it's Vera Wild, and I am going to be doing a series of videos about general tips for dressers. And was sort of inspired by the fact that I do get questions every now and then from people who are looking for tips and looking for advice. And these are going to be very general tips. This is not a tutorial. There are plenty of very good makeup tutorials specifically, for real specific drag queen looks. That's not what this is. This is more basic tips for people just starting out looking for sort of the more fundamentals. This is all based off my own experience and what I have found works for me. I don't claim to be an expert, but I do remember when I was starting out how little guidance I had, and I didn't really have anyone who could offer me tips, and I had to do a lot of trial and error. So I'm just hoping that maybe these can help someone who's just starting out, who's experimenting, and doesn't want to look like an absolute hot mess. So we will start with this first entry with the thing that you need to have that be strong, whether you're making a house or whether you're making your face: foundation. Now, you'll notice I use a liquid foundation, and as much as I do try and go for a more natural look than many performing drag queens, I can't get away with the things that genetic women would do for a more natural look, which is lighter makeup, things like the mineral powders and things like that. We can't get away with that because it doesn't cover enough. This area becomes an issue because no matter how smooth or how close you can shave, there's going to be a shadow. And I can get an incredibly close shave. I have very thin facial hair. It's patchy. It still shows through if I try and use a mineral powder. It has to be the liquid. Now that, of course, brings us to what the shading should be. You do ultimately want an effect that is going to be along the lines of your natural skin tone. What I found for me is rather than matching my skin tone directly with whatever liquid foundation I use, I actually use a foundation that is slightly lighter in tone than my actual skin color, and then when I apply a powder on top of that, I use a powder that is slightly darker than my natural skin tone, and then between the two it balances out. And while I don't do a ton of layering, that's something, there are a lot of tutorials for drag queen looks to create, contours of cheekbones and all that. I don't do that, but it is sort of important to layer your look, because if you look at your own skin, whether it's on your face or anywhere else, you'll notice it's not a uniform shade. There's, sort of a red from the blood vessels underneath a more translucent look for your skin. So it is a layered look, and if you just get one color just straight, it doesn't look right. So I do find that works very well for me. Liquid foundation and then the powder over it. Now, again, with the powder, you're not going to be able to go excessively natural. Translucent powder won't cut it. It does have to be compact powder. Brands, just experiment. And experiment with shades as well. Find out what works for you. Some of you, like me, may find that you need to do a different combination of shading in the summer than you do in the winter, depending on how much sun you get. For myself, I use a Revlon foundation and a CoverGirl powder, so you can mix and match and just find what works for you. So much of this really is going to be practice and trial and error. You should really, especially when it comes to foundation, be prepared for the first few things you buy to not work out quite as you planned. So you are going to feel like you're throwing away money a little at first, but once you find something that works, it will feel great, it will look great, and then once you have a solid foundation, you can work on building all the rest of this. Now that is going to be an entry for another time, and I hope people find that helpful, and I hope that I will be able to keep up with these. I am the procrastinator from hell. But in any case, thank you for watching. I hope someone out there finds this useful, and just have a great night.